Wealth and this magnificent view. Couldn't agree more. May our kingdoms prosper as beautifully as the stars.
John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Because see, we're going to have these different nations in slavery, not only on the earth, but also on other planets. That's the glory of the kingdom. We're going to have servants on other planets. We're going to colonize other planets. All right? We're going to expand. You think about this truth, you think about the gospel, you think about the plan of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Hey, you got that one song by Drake, God's plan. When you think about God's plan that's going to take place on the earth, there's really a blueprint for what's going to happen all throughout the entire universe. For all throughout the entire universe. What we're doing is a part of a blueprint. You know, like this truth is a franchise, and it's going to branch out. It's going to expand all throughout the universe, man. To distant galaxies, you know? So don't be surprised, you know, you brother, the hopeful elect, the Lord give you your own galaxy or your own planet, own planets, and you colonize them, and you implement the laws, statutes, commandments on them, and you're going to have servants on these planets. All right?
John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Wealth and this magnificent view. Couldn't agree more. May our kingdoms prosper as beautifully as the stars.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessing and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect and believers and listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shah. All right, and what I want to get into today, you know, is everything our people, you know, has hope in is failing them. Okay, everything that our people, all right, has put their trust in this society is failing. Okay, and you look at our people, you know, as the scriptures say, matter of fact, before we, matter of fact, I think that's in the same chapter. This is spirit. Yep, Jeremiah 50:6. It says, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherd has caused them to go astray. Okay, because since we've been in this captivity, this latest captivity on the Esau Edom, okay, it got to a point to where the leaders amongst our people, okay, will be, all right, leaders given to us by the enemy. All right, and those leaders were tasked, you know, with leading Jacob astray. Okay, and if Jake, you know, would, you know, come with something authentic, some type of, you know, authentic structure outside of what Esau set up, well, he will COINTELPRO it, okay, and turn it, okay, into a weapon against Jake. Okay, so you look at what our people have been into, have latched themselves onto, okay, even the concept of black, okay, this whole thing of being an African American, okay, African American studies in school, okay, the Martin Luther Kings, okay, the Malcolm X's, these things, was set up to cause you to go astray, okay? And Esau, all right, he never wanted Jake, all right, to have any structure, and he for damn sure didn't want them, all right, to be linked to their power, okay? So these so-called leaders and movements that our people have latched themselves onto, okay? Jake thought that, politics was the way, economics was the way, okay? They've linked on to these, to entertainment, is the way, you know? They linked on to all these things. So now, Jake, has been a Democrat forever. So now you got Jake that's a Republican now. Okay? I think it was Kanye, that really made the big push, okay, of black Republicans. You see? So our people have tried everything but Yahweh Bashim al Shah. And all of it's finna fail. Okay? And what you see amongst our people are lost sheep. Okay? There's groping throughout the earth looking for something, all right, to hold on to grab onto. Okay, it says their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have done, all right, they have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place, man. Okay, so our people, have been on the all, because we've been scattered throughout all the different governments of the earth, North, Central, South America, throughout the rest of the world. And in these captivities, our people, all right, have, been caught up in things, all right, have latched on to things that's been failing them and it's continued to fail them, man. And now it's going to fail them even worse, because even the things that our people look to as prosperity, well, that's going to fail now. Okay, we're going to get into it. All right, but this is all part, of prophecy, and even dealing with the curses. Okay, you get Deuteronomy 28. That's the beautiful thing about this truth. We start to transition from the curses, to favor. Okay, now we're still on the curses, and things are stacked against us in this society. All right, and we still have to be amongst, a cursed people. Okay, but one thing about the truth is that we can start to see the progress in the transition of going from, these curses into favor. So you go to Deuteronomy 28, and 28 said, "The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart." Okay, and you look at, how people move and see we was in the midst of this. And sometimes we look back to see like how were we, you know, you scratch your head like we was in this. And then you become thankful because you think about like what would I would have been if I would have stayed in that madness, man. Okay, and that's why there's no way that we can really believe in this, and as the scripture say, taste the Lord and see that He's good. Okay, and want to go back to that as if we're missing something. Okay, our people, what they call a culture is complete madness. Okay, and it has failed them generation after generation, and now it's getting ready to fail them. All right, to complete destruction. Okay, when you look at our people, there's no doubt about it. Okay, when the scriptures speak about the blind, there's no doubt who is speaking of. Okay, it says, "And thou shalt grope at noonday." Okay, when things are the most obvious, noonday. The sun is highest peak. Okay, when the most light is out. Okay, so here it is when the truth is more obvious than ever. Our people are still groping, looking for something to latch on to. Okay, it says, "As the blind gropeth in darkness," all right, "and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways." Okay, so you look at our people, in this condition, in this state, in this blind state, they've only went backwards. Okay, but just because they're still surviving and living, they thinking that they're making some type of progress. Okay, just because they exist. You see? But now what we're finna see is the complete collapse of everything that our people trust in. Okay? When you look at our people, they haven't prospered in any goddamn thing. Okay? It says, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, no man shall save thee. Okay? And you look at our people, they only become more oppressed, to the point to where they become their own oppression. Within oppression, man. They've been spoiled, they become useless, they've been robbed of even, the basic skills of man and woman. Now you got a YN and a thought. Okay, they've been spoiled, just how to function. Okay, just to be normal. They've been spoiled of that, man. Okay, and no man, all right, no one of this captivity will save us because that's reserved for Yahweh Shai, who's going to come back from the heavens. You see, but I want to get this real quick, because this where this video came from. So you got you just look at what this captivity does to our people, especially those that get into the music industry, Hollywood. It just completely obliterate Jake, man. Okay, the things that Esau takes Jake through. Okay, those rituals, and you can tell Jake done been through some things. All right, but that's Esau uses these artists, these actors, okay, to set Jake up for failure, okay, to glorify poor decision making, to glorify rebellion against their power, okay, and now all of it's finna collapse. You see, let's just play this.
Where are the celebrities? Where are the mothers? Where is Kim Kardashian? Where is Cardi B? Where is Taylor Swift? Where is Beyonce? 40 million people are about to lose their food assistance, and they do not care because they are part of the system. Wake up! Nobody needs Skims when they're actually skin and bone. Nobody needs 12 albums with the same music. Wake up, they don't care. They want you to starve. Starve them. Do not buy their stuff. They want children to starve. Wake up.
And bugging out. Okay, and see you women, especially women, Jake too, deal with both. All right. This is where that's gotten you to. Listen to these women, telling you F men ain't shit. I can do it, I got them bad, all this shit. All this terrible advice that they glorified, and you went out and did it in your life and got horrible results. Okay, so they take a handful of women, okay, put the machine behind them, shove them down your throat as the best artist ever. Okay, they pump you up with this terrible advice, and you taking this advice and destroyed yourself. Now you have nothing to lean on. Okay, now and it shouldn't get to the point where you have to depend on a celebrity to feed you, the government to feed you. Okay, you see, this how far gone our people have gotten. You see, a lot of you women, because most women, all they needed was them a cool Jake. Okay, they have a little decent job, and y'all come together and build. Okay, you throw a little order, a little discipline into play, and you've been good. Of course, we still in hell, and we all finna be tried. Okay, but a lot of you women, you see the nigga woman is on the front line of suffering of the times to come because she's in the worst predicament ever. Okay, she's totally dependent while I've been screaming independent for all these years. Okay, all this screaming independent, and this is what it led you to. This is the end of the road of what it led you to. And all you young niggas that been shooting shit up and glorifying being a serial killer to your own people. Now this is where you at because now troops coming at your ass. Okay, all that energy and shoot them up and drive by and gang bang and walk a nigga down. Now the Lord finna walk you down. Okay, because a young nigga has become an idol, which is nothing. You had the thug, then the street nigga, then the young nigga. It's all the same thing. It's just a more refined version of the latest version of the thug, the gangster is a young nigga. Okay, a YN, and these things have been made idols. Okay, amongst our people. Okay, and look what it's led you to. Now you young niggas finna have ICE, mercenaries, militias, UN troops, each other. Okay, that you finna have to deal with. Okay, all this shit finna fail. Everything in nigga culture is finna completely collapse. And nigga culture gonna be the first thing to collapse because it has it has no stability in it. It has no structure in it. It has no contingency. All right, solution is just the most random, all right, counterproductive culture to exist. Okay, and it's finna fail. Okay.
Where are the mothers? Where is Kim Kardashian? Where is Cardi B? Where is...
They're hiding from us. They're hoping that we will stay stupid, keep buying their bullshit, keep licking their boots, kissing their ass, and ignore the part they play in all this.
Where are the mothers? Where is Kim Kardashian?
Let's see what most women, all right, don't understand. The damage has already been done. They've already social engineered you to the point to where you're not even compatible with men anymore. I'm talking about real men. Okay, yes, you can always get a straight nigga to pop you, all right, but you're not compatible with real men anymore. The majority of you, the damage you done. You're already done. Okay, the damage is done for the majority of you. So you can get on here and scream and holler. The damage is done. You can look for them. Them folks ain't finna send you a goddamn thing. You thought they were gonna come together? No. All right. You see? And you made them wealthy. The Beehive and all this worshiping of these celebrities, and now you're finna starve. All right. And don't worry, they're gonna be starving with you soon. Okay? You're just the most vulnerable. Okay, the nigga woman is just the most vulnerable in this society, but has been propped up. Okay, as a goddess, as as an idol. You see, but the idol's finna be confounded. Okay, let's keep playing.
Where is Cardi B?
Rest. Cardi don't need no rest. Pop out, get up the rest. Pop out, bulletproof vest. Ding dong. Must be that whip that I ordered. Got a new whip for my daughter.
Chandelier for my 4-year. Made in Italy, right? I'm not even trying to brag. And they was talking about for shipment, it's like $20,000. $20,000 for a shipment on these fucking lights? Fuck. The chandelier itself is like... No, the chandelier is expensive.
One woman was crying out to celebrities asking, where are they? Well, they're sitting on social media completely tone deaf, bragging about how they just purchased a crazy expensive chandelier while you can't even pay for food right now. Still calling y'all N-words all on live. A non-black woman telling y'all to go hunt raccoons and eat beans for Thanksgiving. Tell them, Barney B.
Chandelier for my 4-year. Made in Italy, right? I'm not even trying to brag.
And look what the industry does. And it's like they go start getting these surgeries, and it got to be some idol that Esau, is turning, all right, Jake into when they go get these surgeries, because they all begin to look the same. It got to be some type of demon or idol, you know, that Esau be turning, okay, these people into, man, completely hideous, man. Okay? And these are the people that you listen to for your life instructions. You listen to Beyonce. Okay? You listen to Cardi B, Nicki, and all these. You listen to all these artists. You niggas, you listen to these niggas glorify crashing out. Okay? Destroying your own people, terrorizing where you live at. Okay? So now, you know, because see, it was a time when it was cute, it was popular to be these things, and now they're finna lose. Okay? It was cute for, you know, the woman to move and that energy of Beyonce, and, you know, that was trending, that was a thing. Okay? I say this young nigga shit, it's a thing. That's the thing to be. Okay? But just like Elder Required Quorum say, everything work until it doesn't. Okay, we coming to the point where it's not gonna work. You're not gonna young nigga your way out of this. Okay?
The chandelier itself is like, no, the chandelier is expensive. And now, ain't no food stamps. Y'all gonna have to hunt raccoons and for Thanksgiving and eat beans and.
When Cardi B said people gonna have to catch raccoons for Thanksgiving because of no food stamps.
And Cardi B, you stankin', BBL, funky, uneven. You don't get up on this motherfucking app and laugh because they taking away food stamps, and then you have the nerve to say, well, I guess y'all better go hunt for raccoons. And don't forget what you came from. You can have it all today and then it be gone by tomorrow. Please stop. For real, you're sticking it.
The crazy part is she didn't.
So all this, you know, you follow, you know, these people. Okay, you gave them full authority. Okay, over your life. All right, listening to these people all this time. All right, and she told you to go hunt raccoons and eat beans and shit. You know, they got rich off of who? Okay, off the people in poverty. All these rappers are rich because of the people in poverty that support them. Okay, if you take away, all right, the fan base of the poverty of these rappers, they wouldn't have an industry. Okay, but this whole industry, okay, is geared, okay, to glorify you, to make poor decisions, to keep you poor with the mindset of a consumerism. Because when niggas go buy shit and the nigga woman go buy shit, what does she get that? Where did that seed come from? A lot of these clothes and, you know, because you think about it, a lot of these different brands and designs, okay, that Jake go broke buying, they heard them from rap music. Okay, Jake wouldn't even know what these brands were because we didn't see these brands. You look at the design and things, we didn't see these brands. Once you got, you know, Nike, Tommy Hilfiger, you know, back in the day, you know, Calvin Klein, once you got past, Jake didn't really see no, Jake wasn't exposed to nothing like that till these rappers start rapping about this shit. Jimmy Choos and Red Bottoms, you would have never known about this if these niggas wouldn't have rapped about it. Okay, so everything that keeps you niggas poor and confused and dysfunctional, okay, these niggas glorified. You see? So now, all right, you Jakes are in scrapes and your idols are telling you to go hunt raccoons and eat beans. Okay? Now let's get a few precepts. You know, I just want to go into that. But let's get a few precepts. Let's go back here. All right, because the Lord is breaking all this down, man. These different idols and the energy of these idols, the culture of these idols, all this is finna be broken down. Okay? And it's gonna fail you. Okay? Exodus 12:12 said, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night." All right, this was the first Passover, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And Egypt, it says, and against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. So against all the gods of Egypt, okay, the Lord is getting ready to execute judgment, man. Okay? Or this new Egypt. Right now, one of the main gods of Egypt is the Queen of Heaven. Okay? Which is finna fail. You see, it was a time when it worked. You see, it was a time when, you know, you was winning. You see, but it was based on the society being up and functioning. But if this thing collapsed, that shit don't work. Queen of Heaven don't work in the collapsing economy. You got to have first world. Everything got to be going right. It got to be, you know, men got to have plenty of money to blow and waste on you. And you see, you got to have a certain atmosphere for the Queen of Heaven to work. Now we come into an atmosphere that's not going to work. Matter of fact, going to work against you. Okay, being a young nigga. You see, there was a time when there was, you know, a thug, street nigga. There was a time when, hey, that was a thing to be. You know, we was enchanted by this shit. We idolized this shit. Thought that was the way. All right, but now that the Lord finna send the earth at your ass, since you, all right, a gunslinger, well, Most High finna send the earth at your ass with troops from everywhere. Okay, that young nigga shit ain't gonna work. Okay, that shit only work in that 2-3 block radius where you from. You terrorize them niggas. Now, all right, all right, the Lord finna send, okay, them real hitters at your ass. That shit ain't gonna work. Okay, so the Lord is confounding the idols. He's finna execute judgment. Okay, in the earth, man. All right, and Esau finna lose. Okay, Esau, he's into these idols and he thinks he's a god and he's finna lose. That's finna fail. You see, so it's on all levels. Everything that people, all right, have leaned on is finna fail. Let's get this, and then we're gonna show Esau, nigga finna lose too. Okay, everybody finna lose, man, except for the elect, man. Okay, that's what we got. You gotta go into this thing, this mindset. Everybody finna lose. Okay, we ain't. You see, let's get this in Jeremiah 50:1. All right, it says the word of the Lord. All right, the word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Marduk is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. Okay, so this was the main deity of ancient Babylon, Marduk. Okay, and it says what is broken into pieces. Okay, her idols are confounded, which means, you know, you're disappointed, you're ashamed. Okay, now we're finna see now in this time people that brought into the enchantments and this, you know, the idols. Okay, being a bad bitch. Okay, I say being a street nigga. Okay, even if you're, you know, you an entrepreneur type nigga. You know, through economy and through money, you thought money was, you know, because money is an idol. Status, attention, popularity is an idol. All this finna fail you. There's people that just make living because they're popular, you know, with views. Okay, that's all finna fail. It's finna be broken into pieces. All right, completely shattered. All this finna fail OnlyFans and all that's finna fail. Okay, podcast niggas, that podcast era, that's finna fail. You see, everything that people have trusted in is finna fail them. Okay, and so even Esau, all right, you ain't, you Edomites, you ain't special. Okay, this is on Isaiah, all right, chapter 2, and verse in 17, it says, "And the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day." You see, our power's finna exalt himself in the day. Everybody exalting themselves, and everybody's a celebrity now, and everybody, you see, everybody just, you see, ain't nobody normal. Everybody just is extravagant, superstar. So, YouTube celebrity. See, all this finna be bowed down because Esau created an atmosphere where you can just worship yourself and exalt yourself all day through these apps. Okay? All this finna be brought down, including him. Okay? The creator of the madness, Esau Edom. You see, and the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day, and the idols he shall utterly abolish, man. The Lord's gonna get ready to abolish idols. Okay? He's gonna utterly abolish, all right, idols, man. You see? And these idols the idols of today, all right, represent a lot of these celebrities, man, and the culture that they push. Because idol worship came with a culture. You see, it says, and they shall go forth into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth. These elites going into their their bunkers for fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and for glory of his majesty when he arises to shake terribly the earth. Okay, when he rises to shake terribly the earth, man, and this is what the Lord's getting ready to do, man, and it's going to be to those missiles. Okay, because this was all leading to. It's going to get real bad, all right, for you people. And then it's going to end with nukes, man. You people going to live, you people finna dwell in torments and scream poverty, and scream famine, and scream violence, unrest, and scream pest. Okay? And then the nukes, man. The Lord got this thing mapped out, man. All the playing finna stop. And this gonna be forever. The Lord finna stop playing forever. This is the last time that he's gonna have to remind the earth that he ain't nothing to play with. Okay? It says in that day a man shall cast his idols of silver, his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles of the bats. Okay? With all this, you see, they're gonna see it was pointless. All this idolatry, all these rituals, they're gonna see this shit was pointless, man. Okay, he said to go into the clefts of the rocks and into the tops of the ragged rocks for fear of the Lord and the glory of his majesty when he arises terribly to shake the earth. Cease ye from man whose breath is in his nostril, for wherein is he to be accounted for, man? Yeah, so Esau, all right, because he's all right, propped himself up as the number one idol. People look at Esau, they think that he's a top idol. They look at him and give him reverence, for convenience and you see, for advancements and civilization. They look to him, like he's this great creator, and you see, but the Lord finna embarrass him. Okay, so from your top idol to your least idol, your top idol Esau, all right, to a YN and a nigger woman, it's all going to be confounded. Okay, everything's going to be confounded. All right, you people that trust in MAGA, okay, you Edomites, You conservatives, you right wingers, you finna be confounded. This American ideology that you trust in, you finna be confounded too. Everybody finna lose outside the elect, man. You know, and that's why, hey, we should cherish and really appreciate the opportunity that the Lord has set before us, man. You know, the ability, all right, to serve, man. The privilege to serve, whatever it is, whatever capacity that is, man. All right. So let's go here because I want to get ready to close it out. So let's go here to because see, I say the society gave you perks, you know, for being for being in this certain spirit. Okay. The society gave you perks and benefits for tapping into idolatry. Okay. So I said, will worshiping certain gods give you benefits and perks within these societies? And there's dealing with Babylon, Rome, and Egypt. All right, because America is all three rolled in one. You know, when you go into it, it's an excellent question. Yes, absolutely. In Babylon, Rome, and Egypt, worshiping certain gods can bring not just spiritual benefits, but also social, political, and economic perks. Which gods you honored and how visibly you did so could directly affect your career, reputation, and relationships within your community. Okay, so this is why, you know, the most successful artists have done the most rituals. Okay, you got to link that. All the most successful people, all right, the celebrities that they shove down your throat, they've done the most rituals, man. Okay, to these guys and to these idols, to Satan. Okay, and even on the low level, you know, when you move in a certain energy, this society rewards you, man. Okay. So it says Babylon said temple, patronage, and career advantages. It said the gods of the major cities like Marduk and Babylon and Nabu and Bersapur were tied to local economy and politics. Supporting their cults could open doors to priestly favor or royal patronage. It said scribes and administrators often devoted themselves to Nabu, the god of wisdom and writing, which reinforced their social identity and professional prestige. Wealthy families gained honor by donating to temples or sponsoring religious festivals. Being seen as pious toward the city patron god could improve one's reputation and trustworthiness in business and social dealings. And that's why you see, you know, these celebrities, they donate a lot during Christmas, you know, Thanksgiving. It's the same thing, you know, and it makes them, you know, more reputable. Okay, when they do particular things, all right, for you know, around these wicked, you know, holidays. Okay, it's the same thing. They're paying homage, okay, to the gods, all right, the idols of this world. Okay. It said ancient Egypt said religious alignment and career path. Okay, many professions were linked to particular deities. For example, physicians might venerate, all right, Sekhmet. Okay, it says scribes, Thoth, okay, and artisans, Ptah. All right, devotion to the right deity could enhance professional legitimacy. All right, so depending on what your profession was, okay, let's say you was a scribe, well, you would, you know, venerate, okay, the god of wisdom and, you know, or arts and whatever that was. Okay, you was a blacksmith, you would, you know, give reverence to the god, okay, of iron and, you know, whatever. Okay, so devoting yourself to these gods will enhance your legitimacy in your profession. Okay, it says priests of major gods like Amun or Ra were part of Egypt's elite bureaucracy with access to wealth, land, and influence. All right, it says political benefits aligning, all right, oneself with the pharaoh's god could be politically advantageous. For example, under Akhenaten, worshiping the team was almost mandatory for those, all right, who wanted to stay in royal favor. Worshiping certain gods like Osiris and Ma'at, all right, symbolized moral virtue, which was important for one's, all right, social, okay, and belief in a favorable afterlife, all right, tripping. It says, ancient Rome said public and political perks. Rome was deeply religious, civic culture, worshiping the state gods and Jupiter, okay, and Jesus is like a state god. You know, when you go into it, it's like just a state deity. You know, it's just an idol. You know, because you can get a lot of perks under the banner of Jesus. You know, a lot of Christians in these certain um they're in certain positions in society. They have certain status in society. So even Jesus, okay, you can finesse that nigga to the top. You see, to a certain degree. It said Mars, Vesta, etc. was seen as a mark of good citizenship. All right, taking part in public rituals, sponsoring games, or serving as a priest or augur elevated one's social status and political credibility. Refusing to worship the empire's cult, as early Christians did, the believers, could cost you your legal rights, property, or even your life. You see, and this is why, okay, coming into the times, that we're coming into, you see, when it says Christians, it's speaking about the followers of Yahweh Shai. Okay, because Christianity is there, they're just rolled into the pagan worship. They're rolled into the idolatry. Okay, they've been groomed up as idol worshipers. Okay, which we was in that madness. All right, when you go into Christianity, you'll see that there's not one. There's that because most religions they have one to two main deities, but when you go into Christianity, it's a plethora of idols that's infused into Christianity. Okay, but going back into it, all right, you see participating in idolatry meant perks, and this is why you see how people do what they do. They pay homage. They throw the signs. Okay, they do the commercials and the music videos. The rap concert itself. Most of these concerts are nothing but rituals. Okay, because it puts them in favor. All right, with the higher ups of this society, the elite of this society who's tapped in with these demons, man. It says professional and guild association. It says many trades and guilds had patron gods, blacksmiths, with Vulcan, merchants with Mercury. Devotion to guilds, patron deity strengthen professional bonds and could, offer economic protection, protection or networking opportunities, man. So yeah, you see. And for the longest, this has worked. This has worked in this society. But now we come into a time where it's finna fail. Okay? Let's go here. Let's go to Jeremiah. Okay, 44. Let's jump to the point. In 15, now this is Jeremiah speaking to Jake that had fled to Egypt, to try to escape what was coming, from the Babylonians. You see, as the Lord had sent the Babylonians against, Jake in Jerusalem. All right, you had a remnant of what fled to Egypt, because why? They was already worshiping the gods of Egypt. Okay, so Jeremiah, all right, he addresses them. All right, this is their dialogue. Jeremiah 44 15 said, then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, and we were well and saw no evil. Okay, because serving those different idols, okay, will give you perks within their culture, their society. Okay, so this is the part of why Jake was always drawn to that. Now here it is, serving the Lord. All right, you go back into the time of King David and King Solomon, and we were the superpower. We was over these nations. Okay, well, Jake is infatuated with heathen culture and the little perks that come with heathen culture, instead of ruling the earth in righteousness. Okay, which that comes with infinite perks. Being in favor with our power comes with infinite perks. Okay. With Jake, you know, it's a remnant. It's just like there's a remnant, okay, of the hopeful elect. There's a remnant of Jake that always went the way of idols, man, and stayed that way. Okay. When now it's finna fail like never before. Verse 18, it said, but since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour our drink always unto her, we have wanted all things that have been consumed by the sword and by famine. And when we burn incense to, and see, that came from serving these things. The Lord was punishing Jake because Jake had tapped into, okay, idolatry, man. It was a grace period before the Lord started to jack Jake up. He gave Jake hundreds of years to get right. So Jake confused that grace period with them prospering in idolatry. No, you just had a grace period. Just like in this time. Okay, people are confusing the grace period as if they're prospering in their doctrine. No, you just had the grace period. So now the grace period is up, and that's not going to prosper anymore. Okay, it says, and when we burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? Okay. Then Jeremiah said unto all the people, to the men and to the women, and to all the people that had given him their answers, saying. So the women had got so bold, like, look, we've been doing this, and look, our men been with it. Our men, you know. So it was a weak, okay, a generation of men, okay, at that time. Okay, they were just letting a woman run amok. And see, that's what happened when you got generations of idolatry, man. The women become masculine and bold, and the men becoming feminine and weak. Okay, and it all ends in disaster. Okay, then Jeremiah said unto all the people, to the men and to the women and to the people which had given him their answer, saying, the instant that you burn in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, you and your fathers, your king and your princes, and the people of the land, did not the Lord remember them, and came it not into his mind? Okay, so all that idol worship you was doing, you don't think the Lord was considering that? And that's why the famine came? That's why the sword came? Okay, you think because you had a period to where you were doing these things and you was going unjudged, you was still getting your harvest, and oh, there was a grace period. That's why the Lord sent the prophet. Jeremiah been telling you to fall back, to chill, to stop. Okay, verse 22, so that the Lord could no longer bear because of the evil you're doing and because of the abomination which you have committed. Therefore is your land a desolation and an astonishment and a curse without an inhabitant as at this day. Okay, and this is what the Lord finna bring back again, man. Okay, the Lord's finna, all right, respond to all this rebellion, all this idolatry, all this pride. Now, Lord is finally respond. Okay? And all this shit finna fail. Okay? So that was the point. You know, just wanted to get into that. Lord will, you brothers and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great example towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful Shalom.